Hey everybody, Puppet Chin Jr. here. Man, I can't believe just how great HTML Day went. For a live report, we're going to Paul Chin Jr. Take it away, Paul. Hey everybody, Paul Chin Jr. here. We're at HTML Day at ECPI. There's so many people here. Austin's here. Kevin's here. This is amazing. This is super amazing. We've been at HTML Day for a couple of hours. Pizza's here, lunch is here. Ryan's still here. We've had over 40 people come through today. Thanks so much to Revolution VA and Valtown for sponsoring the food, the coffee, the pastries. My daughter launched her own website.
Yeah, we've been a
She's
couple
8.
now.
And we've got
That's awesome.
how many websites have we launched?
3, I think.
3
We've got more
websites.
going soon. 4.
4. I love the energy. I love the indie spirit. All these people are just coding and building things. It's wonderful. Wow! Thanks, Paul, for showing us all the cool things that the kids did, and adults too. Seeing the community show up from Reddit and WHRO. I've got something to show you too from HTML Day that I built. It uses iframes and really pushes the limits of what HTML can do for you. Let's go to the desktop. All right, here's the desktop. I'm going to show you the iframed project that I built at Valtown at iframe.val.run. If you go there, what you'll see is a simple web page where I am loading information from a server dynamically through just HTML. Let's do a quick review of what HTML is all about. Here's the example site that my daughter Susie made. It's all about giraffes and it looks real cool. What we'll see is just HTML in a single file being served from NeoCities. So let's draw that out. We've got NeoCities here. And you can imagine NeoCities holding your web page. Page.html. That's great. So this is a whole HTML file inside the NeoCities server. What we're doing is we're going to use Valtown for our server. And Valtown's a little special because you could do advanced server-side code. What does that mean? Well, instead of a single HTML file, we're going to have a TypeScript file. TypeScript is just JavaScript with a little more computer science thrown on top of it. But the file that we're looking at is called main.ts. Now, main.ts here in Valtown is what I'm going to show you right here. And what I'm going to do is collapse these functions because I've already built it out. It took me the better part of a day to do this without any AI. And I gotta say, I don't miss all of the typos and syntax errors that I got when I tried to write it by hand. All right, so what is this main.tsx file? Well, the first thing that happens when somebody goes to the Valtown server, I'll get rid of NeoCities over here. Well, let's bring Valtown in here. So let's pretend that we have a person. Let me give it eyes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, with a square mouth. Yes. So this person goes to Valtown's website. What they're going to get back is a web page. You get some HTML in a web page that renders in your browser. So we're going to put the browser over here. This is important to remember because this is how the entire internet works. We have a person who makes a request to a server, the server does some stuff, and it sends back HTML. Well, inside our TypeScript, we're actually going to say, let's do something interesting with the HTML that we send back. So the first thing I want to send back is this thing called the host document. So as soon as a request comes in, if the path name is index, pretty much the home, we're going to send a new response object with the host document with some headers. What are the headers? They just tell the browser, hey, this is some text with some HTML, and don't worry about the cache. So here is the HTML that it sends from here to here. We've got a head, a title, some styles, a body, and down here we have our marquee rolling, and 3 iframes. What's an iframe? Well, this is an HTML element that can host an entire other HTML document. So let's take a look inside of what's inside the iframe of clock. So when this page loads, we're going to load the clock endpoint, and clock says auto clock document. Auto clock document takes in a time and then returns even more HTML, this time with the time and the date so that it shows up right here. Now, the cool thing about this is once it hits the client, it is nothing but HTML. There's no JavaScript required on the client side. If we come in here and we do an inspect, let's look at the actual HTML in there. There's your iframe of clock. It renders an entirely new HTML document. And because we have this meta tag in here, refresh content, this is going to refresh every 10 seconds on its own from the client. So if we just wait here, we'll see 16, 18, 10, 16, 18, 20, and we got a request to refresh. That's done all client side without any JavaScript. It's kind of a neat trick if you want to do that, but it does mean that tons of requests are coming into our backend every 10 seconds. Now, if we didn't want to auto refresh it, we don't even need JavaScript for a button press. Let's check this out. Let's collapse auto clock document and collapse host document and pull up dynamic clock. This is the dynamic clock over here. What we can do is every time we push this button, we'll get a new time from the server directly. We can click, refresh, and it's not refreshing the whole page. It's only refreshing the iframe inside this document. So we can see here that each frame below is live. If I make this a little bit bigger, we can see that as the marquee is scrolling, I can refresh and it doesn't break the marquee. These are totally separate areas of the page, which I think is really cool. So what is happening here? How are we clicking a button and having something happen without JavaScript? Well, guess what? We can use web forms. Web forms are an HTML element that have automatic submission behavior. What we do is we tell it, hey, go to dynamic clock. When I press this button, submit, it will issue a GET request and actually get fresh data from the server every time we click on it. But guess what? It gets even better. If we look at the guestbook document, what could this be? This is an actual live guestbook where people can put in their names like Puppet Chin Jr. And our comment is, yay, live iframe post goodness. We're going to sign it and watch what happens. The iframe refreshes, we have new data, and everything else stayed the same. It's like a single page application without any frameworks, just using the iframe. Isn't that amazing? Pushing iframes to their absolute limit. So you could come in here, check out what this does on the server. As soon as somebody wants to post from the guestbook iframe, we catch that form data. The form gets parsed, and then we're going to write to the guestbook with this custom function. What does write guestbook function do? Well, check this out. It just does a SQL insert into the SQLite instance that's attached to Valtown. Valtown is a pretty cool place for JavaScript, and every project comes with a SQLite instance and some blob data and some analytics and your logs and stuff. But check this out. On our guestbook, we have 6 entries, and we can see here Puppet Chin Jr. just made one today, a few minutes ago, and that's live on the database. Let's go back to the code and check out what's actually happening. When you sign this guestbook data, it writes the data into SQLite, but then as soon as it loads, it's going to load the stuff from SQLite too. Let's map that out real quick. All right, so we've got you. Yeah, and you're making a request to Valtown. The main.ts is invoked. It figures out what URL you asked for. Let's say you asked for the guestbook endpoint, and you've sent the post request. Bang. What comes back is some HTML. But in between there, it's also gone to the SQLite database and pulled out some data, shoved it into there before you could see it, and now we have real guestbook data. Isn't that cool? And everything that's sent to the browser is just HTML. You could turn off JavaScript and this page would still work. I just turned off JavaScript. I've got this nice handy extension here. See, JavaScript's blocked. Everything is still working. I can still say Puppet Chin Jr. here, and I can still say no JavaScript required. Sign guestbook. Bang! And it still worked. And the time's still here. And this will still refresh on its own. And yep, there goes the time. And we can still manually refresh the time here. All of this is dynamic server data just in an iframe. Wow. I hope that this was helpful to anyone just getting started with intermediate HTML, and I hope everyone has a great day.